What about credit card skimming in restaurants and ATM machines? Is that happening a lot?
It is a growing crime because, although technology helps us do our job and investigate crimes, it also is helping the criminals perpetrate crimes. And so we have had restaurant skimming cases, which really is just the same type of skimmer that you'll see the clerk run your credit card through at the grocery store, at the department store. It's just the waiter or waitress has it inside their pocket, and they run your credit card through that, and then when they get home they can plug it into their computer and download all the information off of that, that they got off of your magnetic strip, and sell it on the internet or order things online.
How do you prevent something like that? I mean, typically they give you the check, you give them the credit card, they walk away from the table.
Right. Generally our advice to people would be, in some of the more upscale restaurants are actually bringing skimmers to the table. They're portable.
Can you ask to have that done?
Well, most restaurants don't have it, but our recommendation is if the card leaves your site, then if you're using a credit card, at least you have some chance to recover from that during the 30-day grace period and you're calling the bank. If you're using your debit card and it's going to leave your site, then before you get home, your bank account could be empty. So we don't like to see the debit card leave that's connected to your checking account that you use for everyday purchases leave your site, because if they get that number, then
typically credit cards always leave your site.
But if you're giving a credit card away and you get home and all of a sudden you see some purchase on it, it doesn't come right out of your account. You've got some time to call the bank.
You can always charge it back.
Right. They can. The bank's usually going to reimburse you for that money that you've lost, because it shows it's not generally one of the things that you would be purchasing. You're going to have to fill out an affidavit and things like that, but they are generally going to reimburse you for stolen, either the stolen card or the information that's stolen off the card and used. I mean, people call us and say that have been skimmed, and they'll say my card was used in Germany. Well, I mean, the bank obviously knows that
So the debit card really is the more dangerous card to use.
We think so, because, especially for people that don't have $1 million in their checking account, that, your balance is going to go empty really quick, and then your checks that you're writing are going to start bouncing because you didn't realize that someone else has gotten your card number.
Right. I mean, I actually saw a video, it was a report where two fellows actually set up a phony cash register in a department store in the back corner during a busy Christmas season. And they were just skimming credit cards. They were just giving people, putting merchandise in the bags. I don't know if we should be saying that.
Well, they're very,
you might want to have to cut that out.
They are very creative. One of the crimes that we're seeing come over from Europe, because they've changed the way they operate with, as it goes with debit cards, is the skimmers that are placed onto ATM machines or even onto gas stations where people don't see them very often. And it's just a new face that they place on top of the ATM machine. You can't even see unless you pull on it a little bit. It's hard to tell that it's not part of the original ATM machine. There's a camera up above you that you don't even know, because it's just a little pinhole, and the skimmer that you're putting your card through goes through the fraudulent skimmer and the bank skimmer, and the camera that's up above you is recording your PIN number as you punch it in on top of the...
So basically you're getting your cash out of the machine, you have no idea anything's wrong, but you're being skimmed twice.
You leave, and then they don't even have to come back and get their equipment, because most of it now is set up under Bluetooth, and they can just pull up in the parking lot and download it from a remote site, all the information that it's obtained. And
it doesn't look like there's anything wrong at all.
Right. Eventually they'll find it. We've had probably 2 or 3 in Charlotte. Raleigh's been hit pretty hard. Florida's had quite a few down off of the I-95 corridor.
And these could be any ATM machines. They're not going for any particular banks?
Right. Most of them, that I would say, if you're trying to be careful, if you're near an interstate, that's where you're always.
I guess that's the point. We're trying to help people prevent this kind of thing from happening from them.
I mean, when I go up to an ATM machine, I look at it twice now.
Are these ATM machines that are in remote locations? In other words, they're not actually on the bank premises. They're off the bank premises.
No, a lot of them are at the bank. Maybe,
really?
And
so they could be through a drive-in area.
Right. Most of them, in general, that I've seen are going to be banks that may be right off the interstate, that are, because that's where they're going to go. Just like the other crime that we talked about, these people just go up the highway put them on the machine, stay here for a few days at night when no one's around, take it off and move on to the next city.
Is there a photograph on the internet anywhere that people could download to take a look at these things so they could be aware of it?
Yeah, they have videos of ATM skimming. You can just Google that, and there's YouTube videos.
So ATM skimming, just go on YouTube and we can locate
Right.
what these machines look like.
That's right.
I think he kind of covered the question I was just going to ask you about as far as what consumer seems to be the most vulnerable in this situation, in all of these situations. What's the most common vulnerable, I guess, senior citizens or teenagers or?
On identity theft, it's really, nobody's immune to becoming a victim of identity theft. And there are definitely things that you can do to try to protect your identity, but then at some level, there's not. I mean, if there's a security breach at a credit reporting agency or at a bank, I mean, what can you as a consumer do to protect yourself from that? You can't. I mean, your information's out there, and it's unfortunately sometimes accessible. But there are things you can do, because still the majority of identity theft that takes place in the United States is done from people you know or people that you run into. They're your relatives, they're your roommates, they're people that you have contact with that steal your information, steal other forms of identification from you, and run amok.
I heard that actually, that the people who steal your identity are more likely to be people you know than people you don't know. And skimmers, of course, that's an exception.
It's still somebody that you run into. I mean, it's a face-to-face type of situation that is controllable.
What about along the lines of checking your credit? I mean, they have these credit monitoring services, which I'm not a big fan of, only because they charge you every month on a recurring basis. It's just another $15 a month people don't need to pay, but I mean, it might be worth it. How do you feel about it?
No, I agree with your premise that I don't think it's worth it. The law as it stands right now allows a consumer to check their credit report once for each credit reporting agency. There's 3 credit reporting agencies. So I'm going to say, okay, it's January, so I'm going to contact Equifax. And then in April, I'm going to contact TransUnion.
So you basically scatter the checks along the year.
Exactly. And that way, I mean, most of the data is the same, most of the information is the same, but this gives you 3 checkpoints throughout the year to check your information.
That's a great idea.
To see if you've been compromised.
That's a great idea. And now, is the law the same in North Carolina as it is or is it the same in South Carolina and North Carolina? So North Carolina residents can check it free?
Yeah,
South Carolina,
that's throughout the
same.
United States. It's
Well, actually, there
federal
are
law.
a couple of states you're not allowed to do it. I think they have a charge, or they make it very difficult in some states. That's what I thought.
Yeah, now all 50 states. You can
It's
do it
now
for
all 50
free.
states you can do it for free?
It moved, it took about a year for everybody to be able to do it, but you can do it for free, one from each of the free.
Well, legislators are actually doing their
The
job.
website,
It's
the
fantastic.
website that you go to do that it's www.annualcreditreport.com.
And there's no fee for that?
No fee. Now, you're going to go into one of the 3 credit bureau websites,
Mm-hmm.
but as long as you go through that website, it's free. There are some other advertisements that sound
Right,
like they're
that's
free,
correct.
but that's the only way to get a free credit report is to go through annualcreditreport.com.
Well, there are a lot of, speaking about that, there are a lot of free credit report sites, supposedly, but what they do is they give you the credit report. They don't give you the credit score. They give you one credit report, not the other 2, and then I guess they charge you a fee. And they have to make a living, I understand
Right.
that. But
And with this one, you don't get your credit score, but, that's probably this law that allows people to get their free credit report is probably giving people access to determining whether they're a victim of identity theft quicker than any other law, because in the past, most people didn't find out that they're a victim of identity